Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on youtube.com/WrestleGamer and ZFXTV. I am the Wrestle Gamer, Double B Billy Boudreaux. Guys, I'm going to be starting a Q&A series here on WGS-TV. Now the way it's going to work is if you guys have questions, whether it be a wrestling related or a video game related question that you would like to ask me, you can submit your questions to facebook.com/WGSTV, and whenever someone submits a question, you always got to remember I will give you the proper credit and I will answer your question to the best of my abilities. You get everything from the Wrestle Gamer here on WGS-TV, and I hope you guys like this series. I figured, with the lack of, the ability to do gameplays here on WGS-TV because of certain living situations, I figured, why not try to start up a Q&A series to give you guys some flavor here on WGS-TV, instead of just having review. So, for this installment of the series, I got a question from Tony Rodriguez. Tony says, my favorite match was The Undertaker versus The Undertaker back in the day. What is your take on the creativeness of storylines back then and now? And if I may, who is The Undertaker and where he is now? Let me first address the identity of the other Undertaker. He was known as Primetime Brian Lee. He went on after that to have a career in Extreme Championship Wrestling. To what he's doing now to this extent, I have not been able to find out anything beyond that. I know my good friends over at Hardcore Wrestling Radio, the Shining Star, Rick Starr, he's looking into it. He hasn't yet to get back with me as to pertaining to that information. But the identity of that other Undertaker is Primetime Brian Lee. Now, on to your other question, what is my take on the creativeness of storylines back then and now? The storylines in wrestling today have to be kind of catered to the era that we were in. Storylines back then, I want to say, like around the Undertaker versus Undertaker era, they were kind of more story character driven almost. We had a lot more characters back then, and they kind of centered a lot of the storylines around those characters. There's a background voice here you guys are going to hear. I'm not going to identify who she is, but she was listening in on this, and I'm pretty sure that she would kind of agree, like around that era with The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. There were a lot more character-driven storylines than they are today, wouldn't you say? Mm-hmm. So, now, like I said, storylines and the creativity of storylines have to kind of evolve to the era that we go through. I mean, we've seen it drastically changed. Beyond that into the Attitude Era. You have to have, you went to edgier storylines, especially ones with D-Generation X and the McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin. They transitioned from that kind of storylines into edgier stuff because they realized at the time the conventional wrestling fan was getting older, and if WWE wanted to keep their fan base and realize that they were growing up, they have to kind of mature their storylines in a sense. They kind of have to, what worked in the 80s necessarily wouldn't work in the 90s. Hulk Hogan, Real American in the 80s could not really do well in the 90s because fans were growing up. They've been fans for a long time, but they start to doubt the character a little bit. So I think that's probably one of the reasons why they kind of jumped ship and made Hogan turn heel for the very first time in his career for the NWO. But as the conventional wrestling fan gets older, the storylines have to shift. They have to get they have to show something different. And I'm probably going to get a flood of responses. Oh, well, why don't you agree with that about Cena? That's a different story. That's a different case altogether. But, we go from Attitude Era to, I guess, what people probably conventionally call the era with Cena. There are a lot of names people have been giving it. Ruthless Aggression era. And as times change, storylines have to, like I said, the storylines have to change. So basically, my take is, as fans get older, storylines have to shift. They have to be different. Remember, I'm saying storylines. I'm not saying the actual characters. But, as far as my take, Tony, when it goes from, storylines back then to now, there is a lot of differences. Of course, you have a lot of new people on staff. Vince Russo back then also was a creative genius back in the day, and of course the background voice just kind of humped me, and like she's got her own little separate opinion about Vince Russo. But again, we all got our opinions about Vince Russo, but back in the day, he was a good creative genius. I think he just kind of ran out of fuel. Some of the terms. There's only so many gems you can squeeze out of one mine, if you know what I mean. Now, I hope you guys kind of understood that analogy, but, Vince Russo was really good. He was really key for WWE, especially progressing through the Attitude Era. And today, if Vince Russo could come up with more gems like he did back in the day, especially for WWE, I feel that could really turn around the product. It could really massively affect WWE and how they present their product. But as of right now, from what I've understood, the current head of creative right now is actually Triple H. So I say, give Triple H time being the new head of creative. See what they can come up with. Because you never know. Triple H could be the next Vince Russo if people give him a shot. And I think we should give him a shot. Tony, I hope I did, I hope that answers your question, as much as I can. I tried to give you, very thought out scenarios. I tried to explain everything, from my point of view and the background person's point of view to the best of our ability. And I hope, like I said, that that answered your question. And I thank you very much for submitting your question into the Facebook page. If you guys have a question you'd like to ask me, whether it be a video game related question or a wrestling related question, you know what to do. Go to facebook.com/WGS-TV. Submit your questions there, and of course, you guys, I'll give you a response to the best of my abilities. So, what I want to know now from you guys out there, you viewers and subscribers, you heard my take on the creativeness of storylines, as it would progress from back then to now, as the background person is getting some ice in our ice maker. What are your thoughts? I'm going to throw the question out to you guys. What is your take on the creativeness of storylines back then and now? I want to hear what you guys think about that. You guys heard what I already had to say, so I want to throw it out to you guys out there. Be sure you put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and favorite this video. Again, a big shout out to Tony Rodriguez on Facebook. Thank you very much for the question. And again, guys, if you want to submit your question, go to facebook.com/WGS-TV. That's the only way you can send me in your questions. Also, don't forget to like that Facebook page. And also, don't forget to please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGamer and youtube.com/ZFXTV Network. So with that being said, I'm the WrestleGamer, Double B Billy Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching.